alcoholism is a horrible thing, but if you can't remember the practical issues, that's when you know you've got a real problem.
How does one of the greatest icons in music out of the UK die at the age of just 27? A sad story, and we need to get into the details of this situation.
A major loss in the music world tonight. The gifted singer Amy Winehouse found dead in her London home. She was just 27.
September 14th, 1983, a legend is born. Amy Jane Winehouse. Born in London, England to Mitch and Janice Winehouse, she had a clear interest in music, which we can see throughout her childhood. As she was coming up, she said she wanted to do music for the rest of her life, and see her still recording and making stuff even when she's 80.
I'll still be singing when I'm 80. I'll be singing until I'm dead. So, you know, I hope people remember me. Yeah, everyone wants to be remembered.
People remember you nowadays because you've got a lot of media attention. You're nominated for 2 Brit Awards. Is it strange in some kind of way that you become such a big star at once?
I'm not a star. I'm not even famous in my country. I'm not even famous anywhere. It's cool. I can walk out.
No, I don't believe it.
No, I can walk out the street and, you know, people say, hey, Amy Winehouse, but it's not like I never get rushed, nothing. It's like, it's nothing. It's cool. You know, yeah, it's cool.
But unfortunately, what she just said there about not being famous and followed around wouldn't last for a very long time. She was about to become an internationally recognised celebrity, and paparazzi would literally stalk and harass her constantly.
She's going through the drive-thru. Oh, she's getting out now.
These are the big game hunters of the 21st century. With the right picture at the right time, netting thousands.
Come on, boys.
Their pursuit is relentless.
Amy, can I have a Big Mac, please?
There's a price on the head of every celebrity, and almost anything goes to get it. But are they selling out their morals for money?
She's got track marks.
And is this any way to make a living?
Started to gain fame with her debut album Frank in 2003 and achieved global success. And Back to Black 2006 wins 5 Grammy Awards. However, despite a successful career, her struggles with alcohol and drug addiction became public during the early period of her emerging career. Now she was famous and had money, and things were getting worse. Winehouse substance abuse was seriously escalating. She overdosed on a mix of drugs in August 2007, leading to hospitalization. Also, her partner was not helping the situation. Blake, who she married in 2007, they both indulged in drug use and was involved in public feuds. She was also battling bulimia, which weakened her health.
What makes you crazy?
Prescription drugs. No, what makes me crazy? Alcohol doesn't do nice things to me. I'm quite a horrible drunk.
I've never seen someone, a celebrity especially, so self-aware of her own problems but also be so vulnerable and easily influenced. Many people said that she just needed love or guidance at this time, but it was obviously hard because she was becoming famous and snowballing, and no one around her could relate to that life.
Quite a horrible drunk, actually.
But it is your drug of choice.
It is for now. Love is my drug of choice. No, I do like a drink, but you know, it's everything in moderation. I do take it too far sometimes.
As she was becoming more famous, the paparazzi were targeting her because she was an easy person to find in vulnerable situations and get the right pictures. At this time, it was beneficial for the media to see her in this state of getting drunk and going out partying. And like I said, a musician living a party life is one thing, but it went too far in 2007 when she had that overdose. It was clear the following year Amy wanted to get better. She attempts recovery, going out to the Caribbean, spending time in St. Lucia, and briefly appearing healthier. She continues to struggle with alcohol dependency and was hospitalized for dehydration in 2009. Winehouse was preparing in 2011 for a European tour. Her first major performances since her struggles with addiction had intensified. She's reportedly optimistic about returning to music with friends, noting that she was working on new material. And a lot of her music reflects her life. She has that song, They Try to Make Me Go to Rehab, and that was a real story. They obviously wanted her to get better, and she spoke about this in interview.
Rehab was when I got myself into a real dark place, and my friend of mine called my dad and said, "You've got to come and sort her out because we don't know what we're doing with her. She doesn't talk to anyone. She's nuts. She's drinking as soon as she wakes up. She's mad." And my dad comes around. My dad bursts into tears, and my dad's quite soppy. But if my dad cries, I'll be like, "I'll do anything, Dad. I'll do whatever you want me to do." So I want to stay with him. And then my manager just came for me and goes, "We're going to take you to this place," and I was like, Are you? All right, okay. And they were like, "No, we're going to take you." And I was like, "Well, how about I say I don't go?" And they said, "Well, if you don't go, we'll come back for you tomorrow." I was like, "All right, let me have a bath, put my face on." I said to my dad, I was like, Dad, do you think I need to go? My dad goes, no, but just do it because it looks good for the record company.
At this time, many people said her dad was in denial as well about her problem. He was in documentaries when she was still alive, basically saying that she has not got any problem with alcohol. He kind of catched on late to this situation and probably was in denial a little bit.
Everyone asks me, am I in denial about Amy's drinking? You know what? Maybe I am to a certain extent, but it's my way of coping.
Because Amy's still drinking at the moment?
Yeah, but on a much reduced scale.
How do you feel about that? Because
well,
we're still getting the imagery, aren't we, in the papers?
Yeah, but it's much reduced.
Amy Winehouse also spoke about her rehab experience and why she drinks. She relates it to her depression as well, which she spoke about in this interview. I'll play it for you guys right now.
I do drink a lot. I think it's symptomatic of my depression. Like, I'm a manic depressive. I said I think it's symptomatic of that. I'm not an alcoholic, which sounds like an alcoholic in denial. But I thought to myself, now's your turn. Like I thought he was going to just talk and talk and talk. Literally went, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. And then I thought, you didn't ask me for my life story. You asked me why I got here today. I didn't ask you for your life story. He just went on. And he goes, oh, will you fill in this form? I said, how long does it take? He said, half an hour. I said, do you know what? I don't want to waste your time anyway still. Meanwhile, my managers are in the pub down the road having like Sunday roast. It's a joke.
So the line, they wanted me to go to rehab and I said, no. That is actually what happened.
Yeah.
You were like, no, I'm not up for it.
It's a sad situation, like I said, because in interviews, Amy is so self-aware, but she says here she's not an alcoholic. This could come back at any point. She needed to nip it in the bud and find some sort of coping mechanism that was not alcohol at this point.
Well, it was 10 weeks. I mean, you can hear it in the lyrics. It was 70 days, 10 weeks. And I just thought, nah, do they have a gym there? What's going to happen to who's going to feed my cats? Who's like, do you know what I mean? Like real
practical issues.
The thing is that, you know, alcoholism is a horrible thing, but if you can't remember the practical issues, that's when you know you've got a real problem.
So your cat saved you from rehab?
They did. Thank you, Monkey. Thank you, Melina.
However, her alcohol dependency persisted. June 18th, 2011, Winehouse's final performance in Serbia was a disaster. Visibly intoxicated, she forgets her lyrics and is booed off stage, leading to the cancellation of her comeback tour. At this point, she's just a superstar in a bad place, but she was also about to be going through a breakup situation, and her dependency on alcohol was becoming more and more in her life. And this is where I would say alcohol does become a problem in someone's life when it's affecting their ability to work. At the end of the day, this is her job to perform, and it was clearly affecting this show. We see the following month her dancing with her goddaughter at the iTunes Festival in London, one of her last public appearances. Although at this point Amy Winehouse was seen on camera having fun and obviously was probably drinking at this situation, she seemed in good spirits and healthy. She had a bit of weight to her other than photos we've seen, but this was just 3 days out from her passing away. In the build-up to the situation we're going to get into where she lost her life, she had a breakup with Blake, and she obviously really cared about him. You can see in numerous videos the love she had for this man, and it had a significant impact on her struggles. And again, we see her turn to alcohol. Her relationship with Blake marked intense emotional highs and lows, as well as them both having mutual substance abuse. They married in 2007, but public incidents, including the 2007 overdose requiring hospitalization of Amy Winehouse and the 2008 drug arrest for possession, highlighted their destructive dynamic. Even Blake himself having a 2008 imprisonment and their 2009 divorce left Amy Winehouse emotional and worsening her substance abuse. Blake as well, still to this day, gets backlash from the Amy Winehouse fan base saying he put her onto certain substances and made it even worse for her, which he addressed on an interview with Piers Morgan.
Me and Amy only used drugs together maybe 6 months of our marriage. That was it, and before that Amy didn't use drugs, she smoked cannabis. I did heroin maybe 4 or 5 times. I'm not saying that.
I mean, do you feel any responsibility?
Always, yeah, but I'm also not willing to be the only person anymore.
Right.
I feel I am the only person that's ever taken responsibility and has done since Amy was alive.
Well, you've been heavily criticised.
Yeah.
Do you think that some of that criticism has been unfair?
I feel that maybe since the last film about Amy came out 2 years ago, the documentary, there's been a certain sort of shifting of blame to other parties, but I feel that before that, pre that, and probably still now, I'm the only person that's taken any responsibility. People don't realise that Amy didn't do anything Amy didn't want to do. And whereas I will always carry a burden of guilt.
Her relationship with Reg Travis in 2010 offered some stability, but it wasn't enough to curb her substance abuse. Friends and family noted her loneliness and emotional state, particularly after losing Blake. And it's strange because her new partner Reg Travis actually said as well that she was in good spirits leading up to her passing, how they had things planned that they was looking forward to.
We were looking forward to it, and I just remember thinking after that everything's going to be, we're really, everything felt good.
Yes.
And it was just a funny feeling that both of us had, because we actually both talked about it. I said, I think everything's going really well at the minute. She's going, yeah. And I was saying, I'm really looking forward to Nikki's wedding because I just think, after that we'll, do a few things, we'll go out a bit, and she was going, yeah, I feel the same.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And it couldn't have been further from what was going to happen,
But once again, we see her song lyrics in her real life. I go back to black. That's her referring to a state of sadness, depression, or a dark, painful place. And the only way she knew how to cope with this depressive state, she said herself, was through alcohol.
I do drink a lot. I think it's symptomatic of my depression. Like, I'm a manic depressive. I said I think it's symptomatic of that. I'm not an alcoholic.
July 20th to 22nd, after nearly 2 weeks of sobriety, completely clean, Winehouse resumes drinking heavily. Her doctor visits her on July 22nd and finds her tipsy but calm. Winehouse admits to relapsing but says, I don't want to die, but is uncertain about quitting alcohol. And apparently she refuses to take psychological therapy. And the following days, things got even worse. So July 22nd, on that day, Winehouse spends the evening with her mother Janice, who recalls their last conversation, where they exchange words saying, I love you that night. Winehouse watches YouTube videos of her performances with her bodyguard Andrew Morris until 2 AM, commenting on her vocal talent. In the morning, around 10 AM, Winehouse tells her security team she's going to sleep. Morris checks on her and assumes she is resting. At approximately 2:30 to 3, Morris checks again and finds her unresponsive in the same position and realises something is wrong. He calls emergency services. London's Metropolitan Police and ambulance services arrive at her Camden home and pronounce Winehouse dead. She is found in bed with a laptop and 3 empty vodka bottles, 2 large and 1 small nearby. Initial reports confirm no illegal substances in Winehouse's system, only alcohol, although its role is unclear at this point. After seeing Amy Winehouse struggle for many years with substance abuse, our greatest fear come true. She had passed away and we had lost a great icon of music, one of the greatest this country had ever produced. We got the final inquest a few months later, where the coroner says that Winehouse's death is a misadventure due to accidental alcohol poisoning. She was at 416 milligrams per 100 ml, 5 times over the UK legal driving limit of 80, with levels above 350 considered fatal. A prescribed sedative for alcohol withdrawal is found in her system but played no role in her death.
You can't have a specific level that will kill a particular individual. We're all different. People are different size. They have different medical problems. Women have livers that are only 2/3 the size of men. And, people who are short, as Amy was, have less capacity than other people. The other thing that makes a difference is whether you're in training. If you drink a lot regularly, you're more likely to get away with it. Now, Amy had stopped drinking 3 weeks prior to her death, and so that tolerance will have gone down. She may have had no more on that particular day than she'd been used to taking previously, but she'd lost the tolerance and it killed her. Amy had no vomit in her throat or in her lungs, or she didn't die of organ failure. She died of alcohol poisoning. Alcohol is a poison. It poisons the liver, it poisons the brain, it poisons the nervous system generally. It's a highly toxic drug.
A few years later, in 2013, a second inquest is held, and it confirms the same findings: death by misadventure from alcohol poisoning. Winehouse's brother Alex later suggests her bulimia, which began in her teens, weakened her body, making her more susceptible to alcohol's effects, and her family established the Amy Winehouse Foundation to support young people with addiction issues. Her life and death inspired a 2015 documentary, Amy, and a 2024 movie, Back to Black. Amy Winehouse has become a legend in music and died at the age of just 27. And in her story, good music lives forever. You can go all around the world and you will hear her music playing. It fascinates me that people at such a young age don't live the longest life but achieve so much, and she definitely did that. Rest in peace to Amy Winehouse.